It's like,
I can't imagine. All right. Live and record.
oh, hey. Hello, you lot out there. This is Runes and Miz Arsenal Chat. I'm Runes.
And I'm Miz.
We're coming at you a couple weeks into the summer transfer window. And it's
it feels like January in Seattle. It's raining and cold, so it feels like January. So,
and knowing Arsenal, it could be like January because they didn't do shit. But apparently we have done shit. We signed a 19-year-old winger named Bukayo Saka. Marquinhos.
Yeah.
We needed
another
winger,
Yeah.
And then we just got a 5'9", 135 soaking wet center mid who hopefully won't get his fucking leg broken off. But
it looked good. It looks good, all right. Though I watched a little bit of. I was up in the middle of the night last night. I saw the Sky thing come through, and I watched a couple videos. He seemed decent, but I just don't know if we need that position filled right now. Like we have Odegaard, we have Smith Rowe. Like, did we need another attacking midfielder?
Yeah, I mean, I think he got 5 goals and like 14 assists, and that's a good return. It's definitely better than anything that our midfielders got at Arsenal. But it's another one where it's like we keep getting linked to players, and then we keep maybe getting like these 2 players that we got are like, okay, they might be good. I mean, hopefully they're really good and they make the team better.
Yeah.
But like that was not the position that we needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what?
I've seen some. I think Yuri Tielemans, and he's not as close yet, from what I understand. But I think the Gabriel Jesus stuff is close. I think personal terms have been agreed, and he wants to go to Arsenal, from what I understand. Which is I'm shocked about, actually. That I've seen so many things saying that he wants to go there, but
I don't know why
the bid was rejected today. Because I think we're just a couple million short as usual. But I think the bid we put in was like 49 million. I think they want like 52. And so I can't be mad about that one if we get him. I guess that's like, it does help our cause.
Yeah. It's just, there's a couple things like maybe this Vieira dude, like finally we replaced Patrick Vieira with
Fabio.
Vieira.
Who's not black and is like 7 inches shorter.
But it's like, okay, I can't be mad, but also, I mean, we've had 2 seasons with Arteta. That's a long, long time. So I felt like we've been in this position before. We've seen things that were like, okay, that might work. And then it didn't work. And you're like, well, that's because it was a questionable thing to start with, this alone with Gabriel Jesus. Yes, I hope we get him, but like, why did we
improve? Do we improve? Like, is it a better fit than Laka or Abba? Like, is it, I mean, if they play him through the middle, is that like, what's your take on him in general? Yeah, I did see someone say he hasn't even scored 15 goals yet in the Premier League in one season. So, and that was at Man City, but he hasn't been the main dude there for the most part.
Like, he's playing out on the wing. Well, 2 things about Jesus. First is we convinced Eddie Nketiah to stay by giving him 100,000 a week. He's not going to play a single fucking minute if Jesus. And like,
he's going to revert back to the bench again.
Yeah, are we going to play somehow with 2 forwards? Mikel would rather play with 0 forwards, and because Arteta plays with 0 forwards, it's also like, Jesus, what are you going to do? Like, we want him, you and I want him as a number 9 point man. That's
absolutely
where he went to City. And then Pep was like, nah, I don't really like playing with the number 9 forward. So you're going to play on the wing. And he managed to actually do pretty well as a winger. And I could fucking see Arteta doing that too, which is like, if we're going to get him and play him on the wing, don't spend 52 million to do that. You know what I mean? Just let Eddie Nketiah be the lone one who never, gets hung out to dry, or just don't play with the don't play with the striker. You know what I mean? Just be like, no, we have zero strikers. We don't have that position anymore. It's like,
no disrespect to Eddie and Ketsia either, but like, I also don't even see why we're even contemplating. I mean, I know he scored goals at the end of the season. I like him as a player, but I don't think he's the dude that is what we need in general. City bought Holland, and like you said before we got on, Alvarez. And so, Liverpool bought a big striker again. They're selling Mane. I mean, we got to have somebody that's going to just bang in goals. Like, you need an out and out goal scorer in the team overall.
Well, here's the thing too to consider. Since Arteta has come, we have not had an out and out goal scorer.
Yeah, we haven't.
And people say, "Oh, Aubameyang was terrible. He was garbage. His form is terrible." Not at Barcelona, it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, well, how do you explain that?
Yeah,
you know, like,
I mean, how
come no one else?
He was played out of position. He was not used in the way that he was. And of course, he's going to get frustrated.
Why wouldn't he do that with Gabriel Jesus? You know what I mean? Like, I don't have any reason to believe that Jesus is going to be playing a point man with getting balls played in behind, because why wasn't Aubameyang doing that? You know?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what
on the left.
It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen, because I think that deal is like about done. The fee to be agreed, I'm sure they're going to get there. Like, that seems to be their main target. And, and then on top of it, like, Yuri Tielemans, like, what is he going to take Xhaka's spot? Because I keep seeing Xhaka maybe linked with Bayer Leverkusen, maybe back to Roma. I think Xhaka might be out this summer finally, but who knows? Again, he could be hanging around.
No, part of me is like, the first game of the season against Crystal Palace,
for the first game too.
Xhaka's going to start in a 4-2-3-1, and I'm going to be like, no, I will not watch that game. No, I'm not doing it. This is the third, 2 full seasons of just some of the most annoying, grinding, boring.
Is Bellerin going to be
ridiculous? Dude, Bellerin, did you see? He was like basically crying. He was like, I want to stay.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. Lucas Torreira was like, I want to stay at Fiorentina. And they're like, no. So we have all these players coming back who, like, flat out are like, I'm so over Arsenal. I was over Arsenal 2 years ago. We could have sold. Fiorentina wanted to buy Lucas Torreira 2 years ago for 30 million. Said, nah, we'll loan him to Atletico Madrid. Then we'll loan him to Fiorentina. Then we'll ask for 15 and they'll say no. And we'll say, okay, bring him back.
And yeah. Dude, I mean, I don't know what we're going to do with any of this.
Dude, his stats, he scored like 5 goals and got like 8 assists. I mean, I should look it up, but like, he did well in Serie A last year. Like, dude, we didn't have any kind of center midfielders doing any type of shit like that.
Well, that's right. And Partey gets hurt so much. So like, it's going to be, I hope that we do some good business. It seems like we're starting out well, but the one today, as much as I get excited when we sign a player, and like, they spent 35 million on somebody that was not on the radar at all. I mean, and Marquinhos is like for the future, they say. I mean, we have like so many fucking wingers right now in general, and everybody plays on the wing essentially. We still got Pepe that they got like.
And there hasn't even been a rumor about anyone buying Pepe. I mean, I saw something like PSG was interested, but that was like 2 months ago or something like that. And I haven't seen any kind of concrete thing. And it's like, dude, what's Pepe going to do? Again, dude, that's the 3 players that we had who are supposed to rival Liverpool's front 3, Pepe, Alba, and Laka. 2 of them are gone. One of which we paid.
One of them is going to be gone. I'm sure he's going to leave this summer. I can't imagine Pepe being around another season. Like if you were him, you'd be doing everything you could to force a move at this point, because like why would you stay there? they're obviously not in the plans, and
He
doesn't ever play.
And he patently refuses to play him in a position where he might do better. Even though it's not like, I mean, if we had Lewandowski and we're like, well, we can't play you up down the middle because we have Lewandowski, then you'd be like, well, unlucky, you know? But
Yeah,
we
it's not
literally
like that.
no one could score. Who was our top
I mean,
scorer? Saka? With like
I mean, I'm all right with us adding depth and stuff. Like that's fine if they're going to keep spending, but they need to make sure that they get the fringe players out. That so I guess we'll see how the window goes. I mean, I'm trying to be hopeful. We're in Europa League at least of some. You know, we made some progress. I think if we get Gabriel Jesus, that's some progress. You know, I would love to see us get rid of the players that don't fit in there anymore, like Torreira, Guendouzi,
Guendouzi.
Mavropanos.
Yeah, Guendouzi
like
gone for 9 mil.
This is okay. And I mean, Saliba's coming back. I guess that's like.
I just saw we're linked to another center back. Who
we probably need another center back though, because Rob Holding certainly doesn't need to be in that mix. Because like I would say, if we're trying to be strength for like Europe and for all the competitions, like you got White and Gabriel as probably the main two. Like they were a pretty good partnership together as like defensively. We did improve in the back, and with Tommy Asu back there, Tierney is going to be out for a little bit. So, and they're talking about sending Tavares out on loan to develop. And I saw Zinchenko linked, but I can't imagine City selling us Zinchenko and Jesus and Raheem Sterling, which has been linked a bunch. So like I can't imagine them giving us that kind of business in the window. It's not the other way around when we gave them Gael Clichy and Bakary Sagna and Torre and Adebayor and like and Nazar. I mean, we sold them literally all of our best players. Like
you know, I looked it up the other day. We gave all of those players, and we got 71 million pounds for them.
Yeah, we didn't make a lot of money on that at all. It was very foolish. They were very bad at business as a team. Supposedly the sustainable model that they're running is a lot like how the Trump organization was running a sustainable government on stuff.
Yeah, it's where you make the wrong decision to lose money, and then you pay money and then don't use the thing that, like, it seems almost on purpose. You know, when you spend 72 million on Pepe and then almost it's like someone is told, well, I mean, Emery was like, I don't want him. You know what? Heard something the other day. Emery wanted Fabinho and Zaha. And it's like, dude, if we would have had Fabinho went to Liverpool and basically holds down their defensive mid.
Yeah, that's like he's a great player.
Like he is,
and Zaha, legitimate. We needed Zaha actually instead of Pepe. Like proven Premier League player that is being wasted at Palace until this last season, until Vieira arrived. I'd say that Zaha was always likely to leave Palace. Now at this point, like I think he'll probably stick around there for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, they wanted 80 million. And we said no. But we also had, at the time, we had Ozil, who we gave a new contract, which we could have negotiated like a 40 to 60 kind of deal. Maybe say like lowball it and say 30 million for Ozil before re-signing him. You know, the year with 1 year left on his contract type of thing. Then you're getting Zaha for 50, and that's not so bad. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. It's like Liverpool bought Nunez for 85. Like, wow, that's a lot. Then they sold Mane for 40. So 45 for the up and coming best, you know, top tier, top 1% type of striker that could go to any club. That's doable, you know?
Yeah.
Instead, we paid 72 for Pepe, and then we just don't play him. I think he could have been great. I mean, he comes in against Wolves, gets a goal and assist, you know, saves the game. He's done that numerous times. Lacazette is gone, and it's like, dude, he never got going. Never.
And there's multiple of them. Like a lot of the Arsenal players have said that, when they talk about who's the most gifted player in training, Pepe is the one that everyone talks about. That he's like probably the most technically gifted player at Arsenal, and he can't get the team. Like he can't.
And then he comes and scores, and then Mikel's like, ha ha ha. Yeah. But no, you're not playing me.
It's going to be an interesting window because I think that there's a lot of business that has to be done either way because they do need to strengthen. They know they need to strengthen, which I think they are working on. Again, I think it's Edu and Arteta, I don't know, are necessarily the top problem. I think that they're given what they're given. I think that there's some other things at play that they're working within the parameters. I don't know, deep down what's going on is who knows. Like they're obviously trying to improve the club. It's like I think that they're trying to move it in some type of positive direction. But the business aspect, it'd be interesting to know what the tax loss laws are in the UK on something like a player, what the benefit of that is. Like, because are we missing something like where the write-off aspect of it, because why have we just discarded players so much, and why have we like taken a loss on so many, like 71 million, like you said, to Man City on that lot of players right there is a gross violation of mismanagement
of business and soccer.
Yeah,
both is bad. Yeah, I feel like they've been pumping money into the Rams, and then
they don't fucking Arsenal.
But then they'll be like, well, we'll report a massive loss on Arsenal, so and then we'll out of these little deals, we'll pilfer a couple million here, a couple million there. You know what I mean? And then we'll claim the loss, so we don't have to pay taxes on what we're doing for the Rams. Somehow, I feel like they're doing something like that because you would have to really try to make. Well, it's just you're seeing a decision and you're like, you did the wrong thing. Like clearly like the worst thing you could possibly do. Like paying Aubameyang to leave, paying Ozil to leave, instead of somehow just like you have a better chance of just putting him out there for the rest of the season, and there's a good chance that he goes back to scoring. You know what I mean? The dude had the golden boot a couple of years ago. Like he went to Barcelona and scored 13 goals in the league.
What about some of the deals that we could have? Like if what I see is happening is we are going to keep Lokonga. Lokonga is not going on loan. I think that
I forgot about it.
Which I think he's a good player. I could see him getting very good. I like him too. I think he's really a solid player. And I think he's only going to improve. Partey should be back by the start of the season, hopefully. I would imagine if we are going to stay that same stupid formation that we continue to play, that Yuri Tielemans would take up that other spot next to Partey. And Odegaard in front of him.
I don't know too much about Tielemans. Do you?
He's good. He's at Leicester. He's a baller. Solid player. He kind of looks like Babyface a little bit. Like every time I've looked at him, like he looks really young, but he's very highly rated. He's a Belgian international.
He like a box to box midfielder.
Yeah, he's more of a holding midfielder than anything. But he is more box to box than I'd say Partey would be. Like Partey would probably play a little deeper. Tielemans also is pretty creative in there with Madison a lot. So, I mean, that'd be a good buy. Like and that's the one that's been linked for a while. That seems to be somewhat close. I would love to see that one get done because that is a surefire way to start getting Xhaka out of that role.
I mean, dude, okay, they want 35 million. And here's another thing too. Like I was talking to Art the other day, and I was like, You know, when you feel like you filled out a loan application and you're just like, oh, it's getting close. I know they're working on it. It's like, it's not constructing a house. It's you take the paper, you put it here, you add up two figures, and
I
you
don't know what
have the money or you don't.
Yeah.
It's a yes or a no. You know, and they kept being like, well, Tielemans, it's getting there, it's getting close, you know, and you're like, what is it? Are they climbing a fucking mountain? Or like, this is 35 mil, you know, sell Xhaka for whatever you could get. At one point, I mean, we could have done this so many times by now. Like Wolves wanted to pay 30 million for Ainsley Maitland-Niles. We could have sold him to Wolves and bought fucking Tielemans 2 years ago for a net, call it even 20 million, saying Tielemans 50 million, you know? And we just would have been, you know, over and done with by now. We would have had the player. It would have cost us 20 million net. Now we're looking at 35 and we're quibbling, you know, and then we'll be like quibbling over like 1 or 2 million on one deal, and then go ahead over here and just spend 35 million on some unknown Portuguese player that no one's ever talked about. Like, what the hell?
They make the weirdest business decisions. Like we said, that is I think the major problem with what we do is that it really is like not like in line with what they say all the time. They're like, I've heard, I have it up right now on the Mirror UK right now. I saw something yesterday that was like, we have 110 to spend this summer. That was the number. Literally the headline here is Arsenal set for 215 million pound transfer spree to blow last summer's Emirates overhaul out of the water. So like,
I heard that before though. And I've heard that 215 quoted like almost every year. They say like, oh, they got 200 million this year. You're like, that we've never spent 200 million in a window. Never.
No. And honestly though, like we spent 150 last year. We probably need to do that again this year, like easily. Sure.
Dude, 150 last year, and we ended the season with the squad that we had before we spent that.
I know and really, I mean, I don't know. I get it. It takes time to get some of the players out. It's hard to get people out of the deals, but like, do better. You can't tell me that you can't sell Bellerin to like an MLS club or Real Betis or just like, and Bellerin's not worth shit now in general. Like, what would you sell him for now?
I think they wanted like 15, and that was like, they're like, no. Betis was like, no way. Like, so 15 is like, that's like asking for, if we wanted to buy a player for 100 million, we'd be like, just no. And Bellerin's point where it's just no is 15. So 5-0. Bellerin was saying, just cancel my contracts and let me play here. It's like, no, motherfucker, you're coming back to the cold London town and you're gonna have to fucking get shit kicked, you know?
I saw a photo of him wearing like this crazy crop top the other day that was like,
this dude.
I can't with it. Like I'm fine. Like I'm fine with fashion and everything. Like, but his fashion is terrible.
I mean, fashion and sports go hand in hand, and flamboyant players can be awesome. I have not once liked one of his fucking things.
Yeah.
And you can't be cocky in fashion if you suck on the field. Like, you just can't. It's like, no.
Yeah, it's like wearing white boots.
Yeah, you can't
put some white boots on. You better be balling.
Yeah, and if you're wearing pink boots, you better be the best player on the team. You know,
right.
You can't just like suck and then be all flamboyant and fashion forward. And it's like,
he also just needs to come out for real and be like one of the first Premier League players to actually be openly gay, because you know it's coming, which is fine. No one gives a shit about that. Like, I love that it's starting to happen a little bit, and it needs to be a little more open. But dude, I can't with his fashion sense. It's brutal. Oh my God.
And the fact that he's like still like, did anyone even mention, if we had Bellerin right now, you know,
no.
You forget about him, because he had been just a part of the team who was somehow starting like every game, but like for like a couple years. I mean, like we've said a lot before, ever since he tore his ACL, when he came back, that was the time to be like, oh, you're not as fast as you used to be, but people still think you're good. Okay, we're going to sell you to X, Y, and Z for 25, 30. There's one point we could have gotten 35, 45, maybe,
He's
that's when you're like, no, we're gonna cash out on Bellerin. The dude doesn't have heart, like you can just tell.
they just don't know when to sell and when they're not good at judging player value, the market, or
And you have players who talk shit about the club, like even like Nketiah, who's like, I'm out of here. I don't want to sign a new contract. I'm done. And they're also not contributing enough to the team. And then they're out the door. You have Xhaka who's like, I made my P twice. He's like, okay, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on. I'm already thinking about my other team, Gladbach and Roma. And then we're like, no, come back. And we're like, if it's Aubameyang, you say, okay. If it's Henry, you say, okay, or Van Persie. But no, we let those players go. And we're pulling back Nketiah and Xhaka like we need them at all costs. Just so frustrating.
Yeah, it's the Bellerin thing, like all of those players like that, like it's weird that we even still have to talk about any of these guys. Like it's weird that Bellerin is still on the team.
I know, and Torreira.
I mean, Torreira, like
Dude.
I liked Torreira before, and
guy. I mean,
yeah.
And I liked 2 years ago. I thought Nketiah could be. He was right. Him and Saka and Willock and ESR were all on the same point of like, you could imagine a situation where they all break through and all of a sudden we're fucking nasty. And two of those players we sell for like 80 million, and we got rid of Willock and we just basically spent 2 seasons mismanaging Eddie. He scored 10 goals 2 seasons ago. And now everyone talks about him like he's garbage. That hurts his confidence. You know what I mean? Now he has a whole mountain to climb to get back to where he was 3 seasons ago now. And then he might not ever get there. So it's like, and you can see we're kind of doing it with Nuno. We're doing it with Lukonga. And like at its foundation, I don't trust Arteta's man management, and his team selection is ridiculous. So we get linked to this player and that player, and we buy this player and that player, and it's like, I can't really be excited about it because like what is he gonna do? Like I was hoping the ESR would come back and play in a midfield 3 because I see him as a box-to-box fucking midfielder, and Arteta sees him as like basically a forward on the left who only plays up like basically by the other team's box so that he can like, yes, he likes to drive in from the left, but like he can do that and also get the ball more. Like when he plays for England, he played for the England under 21 and he has the ball like the whole time and he's balling.
That's where he's the strongest. I mean, I know it's just a video game, but anytime I play FIFA, like I said, I don't change the formation from what they're using in general right now because I think the game kind of takes after the team like on there and like I feel like it flows better. But I play ESR in the Xhaka role and he balls. He's fast. He runs through the middle. Is technically very gifted. So you want a midfielder that can beat a couple people, rotate, switch direction, be able to go through or wide or backwards. Like that person in the middle needs to be very dynamic overall. So and
he's shown that.
Yeah, he is that player.
Why is he getting played like he's a forward?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The team selection sometimes is like all over the place. Like and I don't know if it's maybe over time when they get what they want out of it. I want to give him some sort of benefit of the doubt maybe this season. If it's still the same though at the end of this season, like if we're still talking about it this way next summer, like I will be where you're at on the like I can't stand him because I think there is a level of it that he doesn't have everything that he wants to some degree. I don't know that you ever get what you want, but all the way. But like the fact that we still have Xhaka in the team, the fact that El Neni is still there, like Bellerin,
Holding playing as much as he was in key games last season.
Yeah,
Cedric, that's dude. How does he finds a way to put Cedric in the fucking team no matter what, and yet Pepe is behind. He was playing Willian in front of fucking Pepe, but Cedric, like anytime something happens, oh okay, Cedric, now you're. And I've seen Cedric fucking be on the bench and get up and be like, oh, like not even hiding the fact that he didn't want to play. Where I've seen him on the field being like hands on his hips, like gasping for breath in the first half, dude.
So who
doesn't want to be there?
Who do you think that we need? Where do we need to strengthen in this window for us to because we are going to have an extra 6 games minimum in the group, depending on who we get in our draw. You know, we will likely, I'm sure, get out of the group, you would think.
You have to think that our best players are going to have a whole tournament in the World Cup in the middle of the season, which is the World Cup is a grueling physical tournament. You know, it's
we do have a lot of internationals again. Finally, like it's not like it was 2 years ago when the international break happened and there were no one going out on the international break. That was disturbing, actually.
Yeah, we've improved in that sense, but then it has its downside when you have the World Cup in the middle of the season.
Definitely, because I looked at the schedule and there's 2 games in November. That's it so far. Whether there's probably going to be a midweek Europa League game that falls in there, and then they're going to all cut loose and they're going to come back.
Fucking schedule.
Yeah, it's going to be tight
until a year from now.
Yeah,
motherfuckers are going to be playing, and they have a busy preseason lined up. And
they've had no break from COVID. Really, this is the first holiday that all of them are on in over 2 years.
And most of them, you know, some players have played like 6 games for their national team already, you know, like
the Nations League. What was the Nations League thinking with this type of situation? So that's a whole other thing that's a whole other fucking thing. But like, I mean, they're finally all posting that they're on holiday and you're June 17th right now. Arsenal have a preseason game on July 8th for the first. That season starts in a few weeks.
And like, if you're a coach, do you think like, oh, I'm going to get like 6 new players and we don't need to practice together. We don't need to train together. We don't need to have a hell week or any kind of preseason, just straight up boot camp to get to know each other. You know, we'll get about 6 or 7 completely different new players who play in all kinds of positions and require God knows what formation to put them all together. And we're just going to throw them out there and see what happens. Like, you need like a solid month of training together with all your team to have any kind of real expectation that they're going to go out there and execute something, especially with Arteta, which I think his thing is like, he has this idea in his head of like, okay, we're going to pass here and then here and here, then switch it and then score. And then he's like, keep trying to do that. Keep trying to do that. And we're like, well, as soon as we pass it here, they're doubling this guy. So we can't even get out of the first part. He's running it like a American football play. And he's like, oh, you know what you do? You just keep trying to do it. Keep trying to do that play. And it's like, well, it's not fucking working because it doesn't work like that.
It's weird because like when it does work, we score a goal like the one that Laka buried in the top 90, and it came from the back, and it, you know, on the game on FIFA, I do play it that way. When it works, it's solid. When it doesn't, it fucking sucks. Like we're left. I see it in the game. I wonder if he just plays FIFA and is like, this will work, because it would make sense to me if he did that. But I will say, when you play a team like PSG and we're playing the way that we play, at any type of pace on that counter break, you're wide open. Like we're not that, there's too many people in the middle and there's too many open spaces out wide. And it just, like the setup, like you said, the formation doesn't give us enough attacking momentum. It's too defensive. And if you're too defensive, sometimes you're in a weird way, like a bit more open.
Yeah. If you're too defensive and then you attack, then you're getting no momentum on the offensive side, but then all of your defensive minded players are up for a second. And so you're just like, hey, other team, counterattack us.
Yeah. Because the wingbacks slide forward. Then all of a sudden it's 3-on-2. And you're like,
and you have El Nene fucking
yeah.
running back, tracking like against fucking Newcastle, where he's like, damn, where the fuck is Cedric? And you have El Nene, because his whole thing with the 4-2-3-1 is like, okay, Tierney, you're gonna go up, and then Xhaka, you slot into left back, and it's like that doesn't do fucking anything, man. You know, like, because Xhaka just goes and walks into that space and stands there, and then they pass it over his head, and he goes, oh, and you know, and it's like that doesn't work. You know, like if you're gonna pick one play that's like American football play that you want to try to do, this one is a very low percentage kind of play. You know, like might as well just say get it wide, have someone whip in across, and have someone tall like Giroud try to head it in. If that's your one standard play, you have a better chance with that.
So where do you think that we need to strengthen the most?
My first thought is defensive midfield. Hold like a solid Partey backup, because we haven't been able to.
Would you play him alone there?
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I think that doesn't need to have two there.
Well, I think you
could play two attacking midfielders better. Like,
I mean, my midfield three is a triangle with Partey and Holding, basically like a stopper in front of the four defenders, and then you have ESR and Odegaard playing box to box, like, and they kind of move as a unit. You know what I mean? Huh?
Odegaard already does that too. So like, I don't know why we don't just have him sitting up at the top of the field. Like,
yeah,
he tracks.
Yeah, and basically Partey's role would be to break up the counter, you know, to hold back and cover the two midfielders, but then also when he gets the ball, maybe get out of trouble and pass it right away to Odegaard or ESR and have them start the offense. You know what I mean? Instead of having our defensive midfielders start the offense, you have attack-minded box to box who can also play defense, and both of those players can. Like Odegaard, he can play defense. Like, that's not asking too much of him, you know. And if he can't, then you find someone that tells you what you need come transfer window time. We need a
because he's certainly in the team. Like, you wouldn't change him at this point.
No, and I like him, but you know, I don't know where the team is going. But I would we need cover for Partey, I think. Just because, like, I don't even consider Xhaka and El Neni, like, to me, in my world, they've gone, you know.
They should have gone a long time ago. That it's annoying that we even have to think about them still being in the fold, because they're not, like, if we are making progress and we are moving forward, they're
not part of it. They're not part of the next generation. You know what I mean? Like, no, they were part of 2 eras ago, frankly.
Xhaka got signed in like 2015 or 16, right?
Yeah.
And no one deserves to be at the club that long unless you're like very good and adding a lot. He's had more red cards. His error rate is the highest in the Premier League. I mean, it's out of control. Like,
yeah, it's just he wanted to leave twice. It's not like it comes to a point where you're like criticizing him and stuff. It's like it's not his fault, you know. They're forcing him to be there, basically, you know, like. But also a spot that I think we need that no one is mentioning at all is right back. We need cover for Natsu. And I would go get Lucas Vasquez from Real Madrid all day because he could be a wing back. He plays right wing or right defense for Real. He covers there. He can also play right midfield. He'd be a right wing back in a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2. You know what I mean? Like, there's options that we have. Regardless, we need to get Cedric the fuck out of there, and we need a proper right back, 2 of them, you know, because we've seen we need a left 2 players. You need a starter and a backup who, if he came in, who should be a starter. There has to be a starter in each position that's on the bench in a good team.
And I think we need we need a left back as well. Like, you know, you got Tierney had a serious injury. Tierney will be lucky to be in the mix before the World Cup anyway. So like that's 3 months. We're gonna need, and Tavares obviously. Yeah. So I mean he's out for a while. Like that at least we keep him for a bit, but who knows what he's gonna be like when he comes back too. And you know, you got Tavares that was hit or miss. I like him. I think he's going to be very good. But he did have some dodgy moments, and his decision making just needs to get a little bit better.
Well, you know what I was thinking with Tavares, that the reason why it seems like he has such terrible decision making is because he gets the ball and bombs forward, you know, makes people commit to him. Like, he's the one that starts the play, that makes the defense commit. But like, no one's showing to him, you know. Xhaka on the left, he's that guy who needs to be like getting the ball from him and starting the offense. So Tavares starts running, Xhaka's not showing to him, and then all of a sudden he's waded into the deep end. He's like, oh fuck, I gotta pass it real quick, and then it's a bad pass, and like maybe he should be more conservative. Like he definitely has room for improvement and stuff, but like
sometimes this like look at goal is terrible, where he like goes like he did score. He scored a couple goals, but I think if you were to look at those comparatively to like how many he skied, like,
well, I mean, Partey's been skiing them. It's because, like, to me, the formation and the way we play breeds these kinds of problems. You know what I mean? Like, they're not getting proper looks the way they should be because people aren't showing. Well, when you have a professional team where one player never shows, Xhaka, you can't, and he's in the fucking center mid. How are we going to breed all kinds of crazy, weird, and bad problems all over the place? And it does, and no one seems to. Everyone's just like, oh, Aubameyang's form is shit. It's like, dude, we're nipping the bud. We're nipping our offense in the bud every single time because we have a dude who literally doesn't do anything on the field.
That's what I mean. I think they need to get rid of him. I think, like we've said many times, there's no other way that Xhaka would be in the mix if he doesn't have something contractual. So like there's no logical reason you would continue to pick that player. He is a pure liability. If you have to look at like where I'm going to limit risk on the field, that's a risky position.
If you're another team, if you're Man City, who do you want to exploit? And you see Xhaka and Cedric on the other team, and who do you want to exploit?
Totally, those two. Why would you would definitely go that direction?
Xhaka and Bellerin. And how many times have those players been the ones, like Tottenham does it every time? Because and everyone was saying like we should have had Nuno mark Son, you know, and what they put Cedric on him, you know, or they said Cedric, don't mark him, Holding, you mark him. And it's like Holding gets spun for fun, dude. He's not the dude that marks someone out of a game. He's a guy who gets dribbled out of the game.
We do need to add a lot of depth, like you're saying. Like we have all these other holdover players, The positive note that I'm going to make about it is the last 6 players that we bought last year were all pretty good. Like they improved our team. So hopefully that trend continues this season with any signing they make, because we're going to need the depth throughout this season. Certainly and maybe that's their thought on Vieira and Marquinhos, and that they're trying to make some moves, because we do have Balogun coming back as well, and he did pretty well at Middlesbrough. He's really a technically gifted player.
Yeah,
which
I like him.
I do too, and I'm sure he's going to be fighting for a spot in there too against Nketiah, and those positions are going to be up for grabs. And then you have Jesus in there. If we get him, I even think that we maybe need another one of those somehow.
And I think of Martinelli as a number 9, but I know he's not a number 9. But like, honestly, it's like he needs to be playing as a number 9 for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he scored some incredible goals. Like, and he's getting quality over and over. Like so we need to. And then Saka. I mean, I think this window and this next season is really, really important for Arsenal in terms of how they're going to manage the young group of players to stay on board. Because if we do not make moves in this window and do stuff, like, I don't think Saka is going to leave this summer. There were some rumors, but he was like, I want to stay at Arsenal right now.
Not next year, though.
Not next year. Yeah.
If we have a bad season, if we finish worse than we did last season, Saka, Martinelli, I would hope Emile Smith-Rowe are gone, and they should be.
For their own sake. Because for the club, I mean, you see it with clubs like, Tottenham. Like, man, if you're Harry Kane, like, I know that Tottenham's in Champions League again, but they're not going to win the league, and they're not going to win the Champions League. Like, let's just be real. Like, they're not going to. They're not going to beat City to the title. Harry Kane has asked to leave many times. Those players will find themselves in situations like that where they're never winning trophies, and all of a sudden you've played at this club like for a long, long time, and it doesn't really matter. Like, you never won anything in your career, and that's a shame. Like, for someone that's Harry Kane's like caliber.
Yeah.
Like, so to your point, like, I mean, if we do not do well this season, I mean, Saka has 2 years left on his deal right now. So next summer is either summer cash. This is the year. Like, if we don't get him tied down from whatever we're doing this year, he's off next year.
And
like,
if I was him, I would say, I'm not going to sign anything
till next summer
after this season to see how we do. And then if we do worse, I want to leave. And then I could see them even being like, no, we won't let you leave. And then he'll finish out his contract. He'll have one wasted year and leave on a free.
And he'll go to City or Liverpool.
Yeah, then he'll go to City or Liverpool and finish out his career, probably win a couple things, probably won't be, he'll be a good player on a great team, and he could have been great.
Because this is the time where he needs to be developing like heavily. Like, he's still young enough that he can be growing. And he had a good season. I think he had a better season the season before than he did this last season.
I still feel like the 2 seasons ago, when he was playing left defense, left defense, and Martinelli and Nketiah were playing number 9s, like, that was the best that I saw from those players. And they haven't, like, Saka hasn't. What has he done? What is he like? How is he positionally changed? All I see is that he has enough skill to where if he gets the ball, he can make something happen. And a lot of time, it seems like Arsenal's plan is pass the ball to Saka, and hopefully he'll beat 3 people and score. Like, not pass and overlap him, or pass and get the ball back and then play him through. It's just pass the ball to Saka. And how he's not managed to get injured by now, because the same thing was with Tierney, and he has gotten injured a bunch of times.
If we add Jesus into that mix, though, And we do play him where Laka was playing, because I believe that's where they would play him, right?
Yeah.
Are we better?
Jesus is sick. He came to City as a player who's like, I'm that old school number 9 who can drop my shoulder, beat a defender, and rip a shot. I think he has that in him still. I mean,
he's 25 years old. He's not old. If anything, he has some improvement to make. I think after 25, you get smarter, you get more calm,
more comfortable. Yeah.
You're
undoubtedly we're better with Jesus. He's a great player. I'm not confident necessarily that we can give him the service that he needs, because honestly, whoever's been in that position for the past 2 seasons, it's not like they're getting a lot of chances and missing. They're getting 1 chance a game, and if they miss, everyone's like, "Oh, see what happened."
I don't know. We did have the most chances created though last season, besides City. Our stats at the end of the year last year are pretty decent. I mean, we scored a lot of goals throughout the end of the game. I know we finished 5th. It was a huge disappointment the way that they blew a few of the last games. But there were some moments in the latter part of the season they showed that they've gotten better. You would expect them to continue to improve. I'm not going to expect them to get worse right now. Whether we can add enough quality to stay in that fold, because I mean, look,
it's hard.
Everyone's strengthening.
I know. The thing is with me is we might not be getting worse, but everything is getting harder and better.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be super challenging. City's gonna be devastating.
Yeah, and we had 3 competitions last year. Now we have 4. That alone.
Yeah, they need, but that's why I don't think that we're done with just 3 signings this summer. What they're gonna announce Vieira, that's done. He did his medical today. That Porto even put out that release that they sold him. That's a done deal. So we got Vieira. From what I understand, the Jesus thing is as good as finalized to some degree. Tielemans is close. And then, Saliba's coming back. That's kind of like a new signing.
There's I saw a strong link to another Argentinian center back.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but I'd never heard of him. Let's
they're
see.
Gonna need
Sandro Martinez.
Oh yeah.
Plays for Ajax.
Yeah, I did see that one. But I mean, they're gonna have to strengthen, like you said. It is gonna be challenging. Liverpool and City have only added quality. Mane, they're gonna miss Mane in the beginning, but I'm sure that they're gonna adapt quickly.
Nunez is nasty.
Yeah.
Have you seen him?
I briefly I've looked some stuff up there, but I mean they got Jota, they got Salah still.
Diaz.
So Diaz. Oh yeah, Diaz. Luis Diaz is sick.
They got Fabio Carvalho from Fulham, who's
they still got Firmino, unless Firmino moves on. Now I would take Firmino. I would love Firmino, but
I mean, for a style that seems Mikel Arteta wants to play, where that number 9 is a false 9, essentially.
I mean, he would never, but it's not. But players like that, Firmino's probably going to move on at some point soon, as well. He's not the main dude there anymore, he was a while ago. So,
yeah,
it's going to be an interesting window. The business around in general, and we also have a new goalkeeper, Matt Turner, who's supposed to be pretty good, the U.S. goalkeeper.
And Leno's supposed to be moving on
to Fulham. I've seen linked. I think that's pretty close. Which he should go. I mean, that's a weird one for him.
It's weird because it seems like we're really trying to force certain players out. And when Mikel Arteta came in, the only good players on the pitch was Aubameyang and Leno.
Yeah, remember one of our first things was thank God we have Leno.
I mean, it's you forget about it because it's 2 full seasons where he's been completely frozen out.
Yeah.
But Like,
I mean, I mean,
I mean,
Ramsdale.
Ramsdale came in and stepped in and did well, yeah, but it's like, but why are we like driving one of our best players just out of the team?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah,
And it still takes so long. Like, why didn't we get rid of him last year? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
we just want to make sure this value is lower and lower and lower, before we don't sell them. So frustrating.
Yeah, I know we do weird business. I don't understand it. We've discussed it many times. It's a fucking weird system that we seem to find ourselves in. I don't even understand how they balance the books on ever of what they're talking about.
It's be a meme of like an accountant going like this, and like it's like, here, this is balancing the books or something, like
it doesn't make any sense. They're always like, oh, we don't have any money to spend, and they go out and spend 200 million or some shit. And they're like,
I mean, or things like, remember Hassam War? Remember that guy?
Yeah. They
wanted 50.
Cheap.
They wanted 50, and we said no. How about 40? And then they said no. And then all of a sudden we spend 45 on Partey, and you're like,
I know.
You had money the whole time? I thought the whole thing was you didn't have money, and then you spend it on another guy. Like,
and they've even like now, like Hassam War, I've seen this like some report where he's like 22 million now or something, like, because the team dropped out of Champions League and stuff, and his value went down. Like, right now he's a no good now to you, like,
Well, I think we get linked with player, and I don't know why, because it doesn't seem to happen. Like, I don't see Liverpool getting linked with 1 million players and then only getting one person that they weren't linked with. Like, I think Arsenal, the way they deal with the media is shady as shit. I think they throw a lot of false red herrings out there, because we're linked with everyone under the sun. We
always have been too. Like, it's like, this has been going on for a long time.
And then you realize, like, no, we, like Vlahovic, so he came out and said, like, no, I never got a call from Arsenal.
No,
and yeah, pumped like day after day, like, Arsenal wants Vlahovic. Arsenal wants, like, no, we never did. We never made a bid for him. We might have inquired about him or something.
How many years were we going to get Benzema?
Yeah, and that would have been wonderful. That would have been a wonderful buy, but like, think we probably were never really linked to him. You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
and nor would if you were him at this, like, looking back at this, like, you would have never gone there.
Yeah.
I mean, he won the Champions League again.
Just this last year, and he was linked in like 2014.
Yeah. And he
got on 5 Champions Leagues.
And he's worked his way back into the France team after all his like things. I mean, they're going to be so good for the World Cup too, that team. Yeah, I know we get linked with everybody, so I have to cut it. At the hour. Yeah. We're at the hour, but we're gonna have to update more, because
we'll see, because some shit is gonna be flying out that we can't expect or imagine.
Well, I mean, we're already. I mean, at least we're making some moves. I don't want to get disheartened too much before the season, especially when we're buying people and doing something like. It's always worse when we're waiting till the end in August and we haven't got anyone over the line, and
started and we still like.
Oh. I mean, how many years does that happen? Like, where we do shit on transfer deadline day to save money, but that's not how this should work. Like, look, Holland was done a while ago. Holland is like on holiday now because he's able to. He did his promo. He played for Norway, and now he gets to rest. He'll be at camp in a couple of weeks, and he's part of the team. They knew the guy they wanted, and they got it done. I don't understand how that's not like you would have a list of people that you'd be like, hey, this is who we're gonna go. We're gonna try to get.
Here's the timeline where we need it done by, so that they can be training with us. And ding,
get this one. On to the next one. That would be the next best.
Is one phone call to the club. How much is this guy? Oh, he's 50. Well, we don't have that much. So, okay, move on to the next plan B. You know, like,
would he be interested in Arsenal? Are we allowed to talk to him? And if not, then fuck it. Find someone there's plenty of people that are going to be like, yeah, I would love to go there. Or
Yeah.
I mean, it's we. I think it's also very strange how we do business. It's very weird.
Yeah. Well,
So
when's the All or Nothing Arsenal?
I saw August. It should come out. So before the season.
That's taking forever to come out, man.
I know. Well, they just finished
Wow.
the season. I think they're editing right now, so they because it ended like a few weeks ago. So they're gonna tie it all together, tell the story throughout it.
And it's gonna be
That's what happened in the last two. Is like
gonna be 4
August.
seasons of 10 episodes each for Arsenal.
Seriously, a lot of shit happened this year. I don't know how they're gonna get it in 10 episodes, 8 to 10 episodes.
Yeah. I think that might be underwhelming, but still want to see it.
It's going to be interesting to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'm sure we got some business to discuss soon because we, at least, we got one, going into the weekend, we got one, somewhat rated. Sky's saying that he swallowed it.
Yeah. Had a good season.
Yeah.
In Portugal. So
and I watched the highlights of him playing against Liverpool. He looked good against Liverpool. Like he played well against them. He's small. He got bodied off a little bit, but Martinelli was kind of he arrived at Arsenal too.
Yeah, David Silva maybe.
Yeah. So
put on 20 pounds of muscle, maybe he can hang.
Right.
And he's like,
can you imagine one thing not Arsenal related, De Bruyne and Haaland playing together is going to be just
beast mode.
It's going to be. I'll be surprised if they don't win the league.
Me too.
Like they must be content. They must be the favorites like at this moment.
Yeah, definitely. Because Liverpool's gonna. I feel like they're gonna struggle. They seem tired anyway. They gotta.
Yeah.
They're making the moves, but they still.
And the quad losing, just getting one out of that.
Dude, they lost 4 games.
They got 2. They got 2 titles, right? Did they get the 2?
They got 2, but they only lost 4 games in all competitions last season, and they didn't even win the league or Champions League.
I know, that's terrible. That's brutal.
They lost 3 games, the first 3 games of the season.
We lost how many games did we lose? 14 or something?
13, I think.
13? Damn, that's brutal. That's a terrible stat.
Yeah.
So, all right. Always a pleasure.
Definitely.
Thanks for joining us.
Check back in a couple of weeks, see where we're at.
Yeah. I think we're gonna have something to discuss by the end of by mid-July for sure.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.